Well, we have some good news involving Syko Stu, the professional wrestler told to work an angle with Quinton Rampage Jackson's son, who ended up, on the business end of an attempted murder. Let's call it exactly what it is, because honestly, I don't think if you watch that video that's out there and just the vicious beating and the unprofessionalism that is shown, that you could come to any other conclusion. But we'll get around to that in a second. But yeah, Syko Stu released from hospital following the Rampage Jackson incident. Okay, independent wrestler Syko Stu, real name Stuart Smith, has been released from the hospital following a brutal in-ring incident for a Knox Pro event in Los Angeles, California, on August the 23rd. The statement released on Sunday confirmed that Smith is now resting at home. The statement posted to Stu's official Facebook page detailed the extent of his injuries and noted that he faces a long road to recovery. Stuart has been released from hospital and is now at home resting. He sustained a serious head injury and was unconscious upon arrival at the ER. His injuries included trauma to both the upper and lower jaws, a laceration to his upper lip, and a fracture of the maxillary bone, which unfortunately resulted in the loss of several teeth. Yeah, you can kind of see that from the picture that's right there, because he had a full mouth of teeth prior to Raja's spur gout, and so he's gonna need to get all of those replaced. He has a long road of recovery ahead, but remains in good spirits despite everything that he has been through. We are deeply grateful for all of the love and support we've received during this time. Thank you for everyone who has contributed in any way, whether through monetary donations, food, flowers, or gifts. Your kindness means more than words can express. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. With love and respect, Contessa Patterson and Stuart Smith, aka Syko Stu. The incident occurred, during an event for Knox Pro, the promotion and wrestling school, which I didn't know that until right now, run by Rikishi and Black Pearl. So, okay, one of his cousins or one of his relatives, obviously, Reno and Hawaii, old, Samoan family that's out there. It's with the exception of like Samoa Joe's about the only one that's not roped into that family in some way, shape, or form. But anyways, during the show, Syko Stu struck Rampage Jackson, the son of former UFC champion Quinton Rampage Jackson, with a beer can. Yes, an empty can. And Jackson took issue. Smith was immediately informed that he's not a worker and that he had to hold Jackson back and calm him. If you would have seen that situation, develop like that, what kind of a carny promotion is this where it's like, oh no, don't worry, bro, you can go in there, you can get your receipt later. We'll spin this off into an angle. Just fucking scumbag promoters, man. Smith and Jackson reportedly settled things that led to the two setting up a spot where on the show where Jackson would attack Stu in the ring. Later in the event, as Jackson entered the ring, slammed Smith and knocked him unconscious. 20 strikes to the head would follow that would leave him unconscious and hospitalized. In the wake of the incident, it was reported that WWE pulled, it's WWE ID accreditation from Knox Pro. We talked about this the last time. The GoFundMe campaign, which is awesome, man. We'll go ahead and get this pulled up to assist with Smith's medical expenses, has raised over $213,000 at point of writing. Yes, notable donors to the campaign include Chris Jericho, Finn Balor, Swerve Strickland, and Nick Nemeth. LAPD confirmed earlier this week that police investigation was underway, but no arrest has yet to be announced. We will get around to that in a moment, but talking about, the GoFundMe right now, over $220,000 with donations continuing to come in, which is just fantastic stuff. Because, his life has been changed forever. And like they said before, it's a long road to recovery. So hopefully that is, in fact, taken care of. And all of his lost earnings will also be covered with this incredibly generous and justified outpouring of support. But just to really drive home how scummy independent wrestling can be, in an embarrassing move, Danger Pro Wrestling announces a Rampage Jackson booking. This was before Stu had even left hospital, and it's like, what the fuck are you thinking on this one? Now, if you guys have been following me over the past 5 years, I'm not a fan of cancel culture at all, okay? And this is definitely not one of those situations. This is somebody who should be brought up on fucking attempted murder charges if we're going to keep it a buck. At least aggravated assault, premeditated aggravated assault, facing years in jail. He deserves and has no right at all to be around any professional wrestling ring or even any combat sports event, because he clearly cannot keep his emotions in check. But yes, Friday, August 29th, Danger Pro Wrestling announced, advertised Jackson for an upcoming event, sparking backlash and outrage over the move. In a bold move, Indy Pro Wrestling Company, Danger Pro Wrestling, books now infamous son of Rampage Jackson, Rampage Jackson, for an upcoming appearance at their event. Stay tuned for the opponent announcement and date. All dates currently listed on our Eventbrite. Hours later, the company would post another post mocking the move as if it was nothing more than a publicity stunt, but it's still, yes, a disgusting move to everyone involved. But yeah, they were also talking about how they ended up losing their WWE ID designation as well. And well, I mean, the fallout for this... Normally, whenever I hear about pro wrestling outrage, it's normally cringe and gay, but this is, well, quite justified, in fact. You know, Knox Pro Wrestling. Hemorrhaging students, which is not a good look at all. Even AJ Mana, who another performer who was involved, caught on camera telling Jackson to get a receipt backstage, has been held accountable for his part. Yes, according to Mana, he has been fired from his day job due to his part in the manner. Yeah, I'm not really for that, okay? He posted a video telling his side of the story, claiming that he was in character during the whole ordeal. Which, yeah, if you wanted to act like a liaison, I mean, you're kind of culpable for what ended up happening, but at the same time, you're not the ultimate decider on this stuff. You're thinking that there was a certain level of professionalism that was going on in this situation that clearly wasn't followed through on. But yes, he can go ahead and tell his side of the story, but the one person, okay, the most famous person attached to this entire story, well, there's a reason that it's not a picture of Raja that's there. It's in fact a picture of his dad, because if this was just some kind of a random streamer on the internet that didn't have a famous last name, yeah, he would already get snatched up and charged with something. But this is Rampage Jackson's kid, okay, and he has offered his side of the story as well, and he's offered a couple of different apologies, okay, but Rampage Jackson, Syko Stu, didn't deserve what happened to him. I mean, good. That is the right take. In Jackson's statement, he said that his son was a piece of shit for what he did to Smith. That's interesting. Rampage also stated that Raja should be held accountable. Nobody is above the law. Oh, shit. Okay. Dad's trying to teach you some lessons. That makes sense. Okay, not justifying anything. This is from his Instagram post. I'm going against my attorney's advice by talking about it, but people seem to think that Raja wasn't allowed in the ring. Hopefully, the threats to my family members will stop after this. Yeah, you want to play the victim on this one? Maybe they're out there. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Provide the receipts. Otherwise, you get the same type of clemency that whenever I see something like this come up, they're afforded the same treatment. This video is still only an edited clip to stop some of the misinformation. Raja is still a POS for what he did, but he's not the only person that handled things wrong. Raja is the only one. I'm disappointed in this situation. Syko Stu didn't deserve what happened to him. Everybody that knows me and knows how much I love and respect I have for our military and our veterans, Raja has no idea who Syko Stu was, or that he had PTSD. I would hope that my son knew that he would have handled it differently. I would have. But then things get a little bit more spurgy, because then there was another statement. So Rampage says he's sick of being quiet about, yes, his son's attack on Syko Stu. I'm a father first. Okay, well, I can kind of understand that as well. But the former UFC star said that he is sick of being quiet and letting all the low IQ people fall for clickbait. Yes, my son took things too far, and I'm pissed about him being a POS and the way that he handled it. But if Stu wasn't drunk, what? And wouldn't have hit my son over the head with a real beer can. Yeah, it's a real beer can, but it was also really fucking empty. While he was live streaming on his own stream. Yeah, why was he streaming at an indie wrestling event? And why did he have different camera angles? And why was he allowed backstage? Interesting. Wouldn't have felt like they had to make things right by letting Raja get his back in the ring. Yeah, but here's the thing. There's a difference. You got hit in the head with a beer can, and then you got riled up and provoked by your chat. Is a reciprocal retort putting somebody in the hospital for a week? Yeah, I don't think so. Jackson said that his son would have just went to the police when the beer can incident happened. It would have been a whole other event. I'm sorry, they could have had the whole event shut down and he could have sued Smith. I guess. I don't really think so, but alright. But no, my son is not as smart as I'd like for him to be. He continued, revealing that his family is now receiving racist threats because of all of the misinformation being posted so content creators can get paid from viewers. Yeah, right, that's what this is. He complained that people actually think my son just snuck in the ring and fought Smith without getting permission to be there. Yeah, there's no fighting Smith. You assaulted him. You attacked him. Telling readers to get smart in the post. Jackson then claimed that the event was staged, but Raja took it too far. He only shook his hand and accepted Stu's drunken apology because they said he couldn't, or he could get in the storyline. So yeah, there's obviously drama going on behind the scenes. There was an angle that was being set up because, yeah, this is somebody's famous kid. He wants to work with our indie promotion. Let's go ahead and do business. Yes, according to the former UFC star, his son was told to fuck him up, and continued, I have witnesses that say that this isn't the first time that Syko Stu had done some drunk shit backstage to a fan. Oh, okay, cool. I've heard things, right? Well, yeah, we're also hearing about all these racists in your DMs, right? Attacked an innocent military vet. Yes, he defends his son against that claim. As a fan's pointed out, that Stuart has spoken publicly about how wrestling helped him overcome his trauma from the military, and added, like my son knew anything about the man, they came up from behind him and hit him, then asked him to sell it. I have other kids to protect, and I don't take kindly to threats, Jackson continued, adding that he's not scared of prison or dying for his kids. Oh, for fuck's sakes, this isn't a fucking Cain Velasquez, you know, babysitter touching your kids. Your fucking freak 25-year-old son tried to kill a man, and now you're trying to play the victim? Bro, this is fucking pathetic. But the only thing that's more pathetic is that, yeah, the LAPD is just simply probing around, and that there hasn't been charges laid. Like I said before, if this wasn't somebody famous's kid, he would already been snatched up. The WWE would be far more, because they had an affiliation. Fuck, the school, the promotion is run by Rikishi of all people. They would have been pressing hard to get this situation rectified. But no. Here we are at time of recording. Okay, I'm doing this Tuesday evenings for posterity's sake. No charges and no arrest and nothing. Thank God Stu is out of hospital. But that should not be where this story ends. Should not have to rely on the generosity and goodwill of other people to make this situation right. Law enforcement should be stepping in, but then again, this is also the LAPD, so I won't necessarily hold my breath. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Coswell. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.